There's huge relief for 8 Indian Navy veterans who had been sentenced to death in Qatar earlier this year. A Qatar court has now commuted the death sentence to 8 Indian Navy veterans who worked for a private sector company. They will no longer be sentenced to death. Their sentence has been commuted to a jail term, which means these ex-naval officers will not hang. The 8 officers were sentenced to death by a Qatar court in October this year over alleged espionage allegations. They were accused of spying on behalf of Israel. A detailed judgment in the case is still awaited, and Indian authorities are in close touch with the legal team as well as the family members to decide on the next steps. This is a big diplomatic win for India, no matter which way you look at it. The death sentence is no small thing in a country like Qatar, and usually such sentences are carried out. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had met with Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani on the sidelines of the COP28 summit in Dubai on December the 1st. And this development comes in the wake of that. They discussed their bilateral partnership and the well-being of the Indian community living in Qatar. It was the first time that the two leaders had met since the 8 former Indian Navy personnel were handed the death sentence by a court just a few weeks before. I want to first, as always, bring in India Today's Gaurav Sawant, who happens to be in Ayodhya, bringing us amazing coverage from there. But I insisted on bringing him on this story because Gaurav and I were the first to break this story and highlight it in the national media in August last year. Gaurav, big win, very, very significant development. The case is far from over. We don't know what those jail terms, are likely to be. So there is, a long distance to go as far as the legal work is concerned, as far as these 8 ex-Navy men is concerned. But for a death sentence in Qatar to be commuted, major, major win for India.
Shiv, indeed is, and it's such a relief for you, a relief for I, and a relief for the family members and for Indians in general. The fact that these 8 Indian Navy personnel, officers and sailors will not hang, that was the big fear when the initial court order had come. But there was this hope. India's diplomacy and intervention at every level, at the level of our diplomats, at the level of External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, and also at the level of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as you pointed out, Shiv, at COP28 when he spoke to the Emir of Qatar. So very, very good news. A battle has been won. A war still has to be fought, Shiv. Our soldiers, our sailors and officers are innocent. They've been implicated. Some element has been accepted by the court, but a detailed written order is awaited. The moment a written order is received, so India has been able to get consular access. The 8 officers and sailors who were in isolation and solitary confinement are now with each other. They've been able to get access to their families, meet their families. So some forward movement is there. They will not hang, but hopefully, either in a superior court or the pardon by the Emir. Either ways, India is very, very hopeful that sooner than later we'll be able to bring them all home safe. And that's one major step forward, Shiv.
Gaurav, nobody will ever get to know, what went behind the scenes. There is a judicial process going on in Qatar. But, just throw some light on what kind of effort India would have made from our side in terms of the diplomatic machinery at the External Affairs Ministry, the Indian Embassy in Doha. How would all of that have gotten involved in this case?
So the relationship between India and Qatar is extremely warm. We have a large number of Indians who work there. Indians are very well respected in Qatar. At the level of our embassies, India extremely strong, not just in Qatar, but all along, the Middle East. India has really invested very, very heavily diplomatically, considering people-to-people ties are very good. Shiv, you'd recall when Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited these countries, all the heads of state, government, they were all there to receive him, met him, interacted with him. India's relationship with Saudi Arabia extremely warm with Prince Mohammed bin Salman, with the United Arab Emirates, again, extremely warm and cordial relations. They describe each other as brothers in these countries. Again, with the Qatar Emir, India's warmed up a lot, they've warmed up a lot. So an effort has been made at every level. This was a dirty trick played by our neighbor in this case. That's what sources are telling you and I. So a dirty trick played by our neighbor. Fortunately, because of our diplomatic ties, we've been able to at least as a country get them out of harm's way as far as the hanging was concerned. Now the hope is get their sentence reduced and get them home, even if it means getting a pardon from the Emir as quickly as possible, Shiv.